Hello students. Continue with the chapter Human Reproduction of class 12th biology. We have in the previous videos we have studied male reproductive system, their parts, spermatogenesis and spermiogenesis, then spermiation also, and then yesterday we have studied the female reproductive part. Continue with the female reproductive part. Today I'll going to describe this slide we have already done, that is the anatomy of ovary, where we have seen the cortex and medulla region and the various developmental stages of follicle. So in female reproductive system we were at the external genitalia. So today I try to complete external genitalia of female reproductive system, then accessory glands which are present, then menstruation, that is different phases of menstrual cycle, and also oogenesis. So the first topic for today's lesson is the external genitalia, the vulva. Now the main parts of external genitalia and female reproductive system, that is mons pubis, and this is actually the fat tissue, right? And inner to that area is the labia majora, which is actually the thick fold of skin. Then the labia minora, and this labia minora has the most sensitive structure, which is clitoris. And this clitoris is supposed to be the homologous to the glans penis, which is the anterior tip in the male reproductive system, homologous to glans penis. Now the next part is the vestibule. This vestibule is the area where this labia minora and the labia minora has the fat erectile tissue around the large flash that is around the vagina. So now the vaginal opening, that is actually the area where different vaginal opening as well as urethral opening is present, because in female reproductive system there is a separate opening for urethra also, and for female reproductive tract opening, that is vaginal orifice. The vaginal orifice is initially it is covered by the membrane which is known as hymen, and it is believed that this hymen is ruptured at the first intercourse time, but during vigorous exercise also or the games also this membrane can be ruptured. Okay, so this is not at all the mark of virginity in female. Now the next part, that is the female accessory glands which are present. Now female accessory glands, there are two glands. Mainly the first one is greater vestibular gland and another one is lesser vestibular gland. The lesser vestibular gland, which are small one and numerous in number, and they are present around urethral opening. So lesser vestibular gland, minute and numerous in number. They are also known as, because they are present around the urethral opening, so they are also known as paraurethral gland, and these are the structure which are homologous to prostate gland, because they secrete the mucus. Okay, so they are the homologous structures to prostate gland. Now the next gland, which is the greater vestibular gland, I told you that at the vestibular region two openings are there. So the greater vestibular gland present at the vaginal orifice. They are only the two in number, that is pair. So pair of greater vestibular gland, which are also known as Bartholin gland, and they are homologous to Cowper's gland of male. So the lesser vestibular gland homologous to prostate, and the greater vestibular gland is homologous to, that is a Bartholin gland is homologous to Cowper's gland. Cowper's gland's function was actually secrete mucus and lubrication. The same thing, greater vestibular gland also secrete mucus and its function is lubrication. Now that's all for accessory glands present in female reproductive system. Now accessory duct which is there. Accessory actually organ which is present in female. That is also the characteristic feature of all mammals. What is that? This is actually mammary gland. Now the mammary gland which is present in, especially we are discussing here the human mammary gland. These are derived from sweat gland. So modified sweat gland, okay, and they are apocrine in nature. Apocrine means the apex part, the terminal part of the gland, it pinched off and secrete its liquid secretion here, that is the milk. So specific apocrine gland which are modified sweat gland. When we see the anatomy or structure, right, they are actually consist of the conical disc of glandular tissues which is actually surrounded by fat deposition. So fat globules are there around, fat surrounds the globule structure. Now the topmost, that is the innermost, the lobules, it actually this glandular tissue which are there, glandular means which secrete the milk. Glandular tissue is made up of one mammary gland. It has 15 to 20 mammary lobes. 15 to 20 mammary lobes. And each mammary lobe, this one is mammary lobe large. And this mammary lobe has smaller mammary lobules. So these are mammary alveolus or lobules. Now here the milk secretion is there. And then these lobules, these alveoli, they are also known as alveoli, these secrete milk, and this milk is drained by the separate a separate duct, okay, and this milk, when it is formed or secreted, then it will be temporarily stored by ampulla region. So here is the swollen ampulla region. So this is the mammary duct. Because the mammary lobules form the milk, it will come to the mammary duct, and this mammary duct will then release the milk into the ampulla where the temporary storage is there, and then at the time of suckling by infants, this will enter into the lactiferous duct, and these lactiferous duct, then milk is coming out with the help of nipple. Now where the lactiferous duct and where the nipple is there, around that area is the deep pigmented area, darkly pigmented area, and this area is known as areolae. Here the dark pigmented area. So this is known as areolae, and this the areolae, it is actually the circular disc of roughened pigmented skin which cause that nipple to become firm and erect, so that facilitates the suckling of the milk by infants. So that's all for the human mammary gland. So this is the description which we have just now discussed. Yeah. Now the next structure. We have seen in the ovary various stages of development of follicle, and the tertiary follicle, which I told you, that is the tertiary follicle is the mature follicle, right? And it is also known as Graafian follicle. This Graafian follicle has the secondary oocyte in it, because it is formed. This Graafian follicle has undergone first meiotic division. So from primary oocyte, secondary oocyte is actually formed here. So we will see first the labeling of that Graafian follicle, and then in the coming slide we will see the separate diagram of that oocyte also, okay. So outermost layer, these are the granulosa cells which surround that Graafian follicle. So these are the theca externa and theca interna. Of course, this is theca externa, and this layer, that is the bluish layer, okay, this one is theca interna, right? Now inside that theca interna, again the granulosa cells are there. Okay, so these are actually the follicular cells. These are the follicular cells. These follicular cells surround the liquid space which is known as liquid, follicular fluid cavity, which is known as antrum. So this is antrum, right? Now this one is this layer. This layer actually basement membrane. It is basement membrane. This is basement membrane. Then this antrum is present. This antrum is present at the one anterior end, and the next end, the secondary oocyte is present. So now we will see this is actually the bridge which joins the secondary oocyte with the Graafian follicle. So this, and these are also formed from granulosa cells. So granulosa cells, which actually forms, this is cumulus oophorus. Cumulus oophorus is the bridge through which the secondary oocyte is attached with the Graafian follicle, right? And discus proligerus is the disc, the last layer of that granulosa cells. Discus proligerus. Discus proligerus. Okay, now this is the secondary oocyte. Clear? Now this secondary oocyte has this structure which is actually the nucleus. This structure is secondary oocyte, and this structure, secondary oocyte, is covered by, this one is zona pellucida. This outer layer of secondary oocyte is corona radiata. Now, is it clear? This one is the nucleus, of course, the nucleus of that secondary oocyte. So we have already labeled all these, right? This mature follicle. Now we'll see that this part only, that is the secondary oocyte. Yeah, egg or secondary oocyte, because the egg which is released at the ovulation time, 14th day, it is actually the secondary oocyte. So now we are going to label secondary oocyte. The outermost layer I told you, that is, we will move from outer to inner. So corona radiata. Now you tell me, in the previous slide already we have done this, the inner to that layer is this one. This layer is zona pellucida layer. Okay, so this layer, this is zona pellucida. Okay, zona pellucida. When the secondary oocyte is released from the Graafian follicle, corona radiata, zona pellucida, these layer also expelled out. Okay, and then inner to that is the this membrane. This membrane is actually, here is the ulema and this is the zona pellucida. So this one is perivitelline space. You can see here. Okay, here is the zona pellucida. Then we will see this space. This space is perivitelline space. This is the space between zona pellucida and ulema, right? The egg membrane. So perivitelline space. Maybe sometimes the polar bodies which are formed in the meiotic division, they are found in that perivitelline space, because it is not known that whether the polar bodies are formed or they will remain or what will happen to them, but sometimes in that perivitelline space the polar bodies are seen. Now this is the nucleus, of course, and then this one is ulema, right? Ulema is also known as, you can write here, vitelline membrane. Vitelline membrane. And this one is the cytoplasm of the egg. So this is the secondary oocyte which takes part in fertilization. Just before the fertilization, the second meiotic division will occur in secondary oocyte, because the first meiotic division completes and secondary oocyte is formed. So just prior to fertilization, this second meiotic division occurs in secondary oocyte. This nucleus divides and gives rise to two daughter nuclei, and then this daughter nuclei will then polar body will degenerate and the egg ooted will combine with sperm's nucleus. Okay, now these are the labeling again. Now the important event, very important event, that is the oogenesis. Now I told you in the previous slide that actually the oogenesis starts in the female at the time of embryonal development. So it is very, very important that at the time of embryonal development only the oogenesis starts. How? Because the primary, that is the primordial germ cells, right? Primordial germ cells, they actually genital ridge, they are formed at the genital ridge when the embryo was at the developing stages. So genital ridge, the primordial germ cells are formed, right, and they do not complete the mitotic division, only the karyokinesis occurs, and without cytokinesis they form multinucleated condition. So primordial germ cells only undergo karyokinesis, and then the karyokinesis means this division of the nucleus, right? So only the division of the nucleus occur, and so many multinucleated condition. So we can write directly here multinucleated condition. Now multinucleated conditions, syncytial condition, which is known as, this multinucleated condition form very important term, that is the germ cell nest. It is formed, right? Now these germ cell nest then starts apoptosis, that is the degeneration, and then they migrate to the gonads, and there they are packaged and they will surround with the granulosa cells to form the initial follicle pool. So these germ cells nest, again they start and they migrate to the forming gonads, and there they form initial follicle pool. Okay, now this actually happens, that is the primordial germinal cells, this actually happens at 6th to 8th week of embryonal development. So this was actually occurring 6th to 8th week, right? And then the primary, this after that 21st week, okay, the primary oocytes are formed. These primary oocytes 25th to 28th week, the primary oocytes are developed. They are differentiated from follicle. Okay, the primary oocyte then enter into the oogenesis, that is the formation of egg. Okay, so we'll start with oocytes, right? I told you that oocyte is already formed at the time of that 21st to 20 somewhere it is written that 21st to 25th, somewhere it is written 28th week, like this. So oogenesis actually starts before the birth at the embryonal stage only, and that is why the total number of oocytes, primary oocytes, which are formed the total number of primary oocytes before the birth, that is in the fetus only, before birth in the fetus is actually 7 million. 7 million in number. They undergo then atrasia, degeneration and all, and then the follicle granulosa cells which take part in the formation of enlargement of certain follicle cells only to form primary oocyte. So follicular cells, primary oocytes, from follicle cells, certain cells form primary oocytes. 7 millions before the birth, right? This start meiotic division, but the meiotic division which is occurring here, so primary oocyte first, multiplication phase. Now they are increasing in number. So primary oocyte, which is actually multiplication phase occur. So we will start as the spermatogenesis were there, same as oogonia. Oogonia undergo multiplication phase, so it will they will increase in number. After that, the primary oocyte, which is the growth phase. I can start from here only, so that this will be, yeah, this one, oogonia. Then the primary oocyte. So primary oocyte, when primary oocytes when formed, this phase is only the growth phase, okay, and where the oogonia, they will increase in number, right? So that was actually the multiplication phase. So multiplication phase were there at the early embryonal time only. Multiplication phase, early embryonal time. And then at the embryo stage only the growth phase is there, primary oocytes are there. At the time of birth, only before birth 7 million, it enters into the first meiotic division. So first meiotic division enters, and at the time of birth this primary oocyte is at the stage of diplotin of meiosis 1, diplotin stage. And this diplotin stage, meiosis 1, it gets arrested at the birth. So the primary oocyte remains primary oocyte at the time of birth. The number, because of the atratic follicles and atrasia, the number is reduced and they are only 2 million at birth. At birth they are only 2 million. Before birth they are 7 millions. Okay. Now primary oocyte, now the diplotin stage at puberty. At puberty, the diplotin stage again starts division, and then first meiotic division occurs at the age of 12 to 13. Okay, and at that time when the first meiotic division occur, two cells are formed. One is a smaller one which is known as polar body, right, and the another one which is known as secondary oocyte. And need not to tell here that primary oocyte was 2n, so the first division complete, that was n. Secondary oocyte, which is actually known as ovum. Secondary oocyte or ovum. This process where the secondary oocyte is released from ovary, it is ovulation. Okay. Then just before the fertilization, sperms come to the oviduct, egg reaches to the oviduct, sperms come for fertilization. Just before the fertilization, before that the sperm nucleus and this nucleus will undergo division. The nucleus of the primary oocyte will undergo division, and then it will form two cells. Okay, and the two cells which are formed, this cell will divide, will combine with the sperm nucleus and the second polar body. So here is the ooted, and this is the sperm. Ooted and sperm will combine and zygote is formed. This zygote which divide and form embryo. So in case fertilization will not occur, the second division will not occur, because this egg will wait till 22nd or 23rd day, and after that, again the degeneration, the oviduct wall will reabsorb the egg. So the secondary oocyte will undergo second meiotic division, second meiosis, just at the time of fertilization. Okay. Yes. So this is oogenesis. That is different phases: before birth, then after birth, then at puberty, then before fertilization. So very, but the stages are same. That is multiplication phase, then growth phase, and then maturation phase. Actually, the maturation phase has so many arrested stages. Maturation phase, so many arrested stages. Why? Because the primary oocyte arrest, and then the secondary oocyte, it is also arrested. The second meiotic division start, but the second meiosis, metaphase stage. The second meiosis arrested stage in the secondary oocyte is metaphase 2. It is not complete meiosis 2, but metaphase 2 stages. So many, interruptions are there. Okay, that's all for the oogenesis. Yeah, here. Now I have written here that only the 480 approximately eggs are formed. Why 480? 480 because by actually we have seen that at the time of birth only the 4 million eggs were there, right? 2 to 4. Okay, and then puberty, only the 4 lakhs eggs are present, and when the puberty starts, that is at the age of 11, every month one of the ovaries will secrete one egg. And this egg formation, the reproductive age of the female is up to 51 years. So the reproductive life for one female is only 40 years, right? In the 40 years, that is 1 month, 1 egg. So for 1 year, 12 eggs. So 40 years and into 12. That is approx 480. Only the 480 eggs are formed, and the primary oocytes were 7 million at the time of puberty. This is actually the advantage given by the nature to the female, that it is reproductive life is also fixed, and the egg is also, number of the eggs which are formed, it is less in number. Okay. Yeah, this is very important event which occurs, that is menstrual cycle in female. Now I am going to discuss with you the important event, that is menstrual cycle. And first I'll explain, and then I'll show you the slides where you will find details of each and every phases which are there. Okay, actually the monthly cycle of changes which is occurring in ovary, uterus, okay, and the ovarian hormone, the pituitary hormone, and also inside the ovary the follicular cells developmental changes which is occurring, which these changes which are occurring, they are actually repeating every month. So the cyclic events which is occurring after every 28 days, around 1 month, this is known as menstrual cycle. The different phases includes follicular phase, then the secretory phase, and the menstrual phase. So menstrual phase, then the proliferative phase, and the secretory phase is also known as the luteal phase, because corpus luteum secrete progesterone at this time. In between, one event which is very important occurs, that is the ovulation. So if we include ovulation, then the 4 phases are there. If we do not include, then the 3 phases we can write. Okay, the first phase, that is actually we will start, that is I will start from proliferative phase, that after 5 days of menstruation. Okay, after 5 days of menstruation, then here is the 1 to 5 days menses. After that, the 5th to 7th days, first the development of follicle, new follicle cell to the egg, that is the primary follicle is changed into Graafian follicle and release of egg is there. So we will start with the first phase, that is proliferative phase, which is also known as follicular phase. And this follicular phase which occurs from 1 to 14, right? Now in proliferative phase, that is a follicular phase, this is actually the high LH and FSH is there, high amount of FSH and LH, right? This FSH and LH, it stimulate, actually especially FSH, it stimulate follicle cell for the development. So primary follicle is changing into secondary follicle is changing into tertiary follicle. It is under the influence of FSH, and when the follicle cell is changing from primary, secondary, tertiary, at this time this FSH also stimulate the granulosa cells, the follicular cells, to secrete estrogen. So estrogen is also increasing in amount. So estrogen level also rise because of that development of follicle, and the follicle is also rising and FSH is also rising. Okay, the LH which is rising, when it reaches to the peak, which is known as LH surge, at the end of that phase, that is the 14th day, then this LH stimulate rupturing of Graafian follicle, so the egg will release. When the egg is released, the secondary oocyte, okay, the oocyte, it is actually the estrogen level is also rise here at this time. Now this oocyte, that is the release of secondary oocyte, will have first the negative effect of estrogen. So estrogen goes down. Okay, so at this time the inhibin is produced from granulosa cells. Okay, the granulosa cells is producing inhibin so that the next follicle is not maturing at this time. So this time inhibin is also secreted. Here is the inhibin, very good. This is the inhibin which is secreted. So inhibin level is rising. It will have the negative effect of follicle cell, so that the new follicle will not be formed. Clear? Now the 14th day, rupturing. Okay, then now there is slowly again rise in estrogen level and rise in progesterone level. This progesterone level rise because the ruptured Graafian follicle now forms luteal phase starts. It forms the corpus luteum. This corpus luteum secrete progesterone, and when the estrogen forms the thickened endometrium wall of uterus, now it is maintained by that progesterone. Progesterone maintained it. Okay, now progesterone maintained, and the estrogen and progesterone slowly they are increasing in number, because in case the fertilization occur, then these two will be required for the implantation and development of the fetus. This time also the inhibin is there at high amount, so that no new follicle is developed. Because these two, inhibin and estrogen, first goes down at the time of ovulation, then again increases. Right? Now, this high progesterone and high estrogen level, they have negative effect on, FSH and LH. So they have negative effect on FSH and LH. So here the feedback mechanism is also there. Progesterone and estrogen high, so no FSH and LH, no new follicle. Inhibin is there, which has again the negative effect of FSH, no follicle development. Okay, so in case fertilization occur, then this corpus luteum will be maintained till the placenta will be developed. Okay, and because this is required for the maintenance of the thick endometrium wall. But if it is not required, in case fertilization does not occur, then that will lead to the corpus luteum degenerate. It will change into corpus albicans. When corpus luteum degenerate, the progesterone level goes down. The same, estrogen also goes down, inhibin also goes down, and the uterine membrane cannot maintain itself, and it will shed in the form of bleeding, where we can see the first to 5 days. That is the menstrual phase. So first to 5 days menstruation occur. After that again the proliferative phase. Proliferative. Why proliferative? Because follicle cell is developing, and the uterine wall is also developing. Now at this time, when the 15 to 28 days, when the progesterone level is very high, the body temperature is also increased by 0.5 degree centigrade. Temperature is high because of the high progesterone level. So I think there are the phases are clear of menstrual cycle. So you can, if something has missed, you can see here in the slide all the main points of all the phases written here: follicular phase, ovulation phase, and post ovulatory, that is the luteal phase, where the progesterone is secreted. Okay, so these three. Negative feedback mechanism. I told you so many negative feedback mechanism. Okay, inhibin, then FSH and LH have the negative effect because of the presence of high amount of estrogen and progesterone. Yes, so first to 8 days, FSH and LH relatively high level, so that development will occur. And then 9 to 14 days, primary follicle get matured. Then 14th day, ovulation phase, then that is the release of egg. Then the days, that is 15 to 28 days post ovulatory phase, the luteal phase, where the progesterone is high. And if conception occurs, then the corpus luteum does not regress, because it has to maintain the thick endometrium wall. And if conception does not occur, then the progesterone, the corpus luteum degenerate, progesterone level goes down, it cannot maintain the high endometrium thickening, and that leads to menstruation, that is the bleeding. That's all for today, children. Thank you so much.